But like we said, the surround sound, the side stories which have suddenly become more important, the Indigo crisis, the Goa fire tragedy, all of that will also get you updates. But let me first begin by getting you the top headlines this hour. Indigo responds to the show cause notice by government, says flight disruption stemmed from minor technical glitches and winter schedule transactions.
Well, amid flight cancellations and heat on Indigo CEO, ministry officials and the DGCA are going to meet the Indigo CEO, which is likely at around 11 a.m. today.
And after addressing Rajya Sabha on Indigo crisis, Aviation Minister's speech in Lok Sabha today at noon.
And coming back to Parliament, the big electoral reforms debate in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi has his way. He's going to initiate the discussion, the NDA Parliamentary Party meeting at 9:30 a.m.
The Vande Mataram debate moves to the upper house. Home Minister Amit Shah to initiate discussion on Vande Mataram around 1 p.m.
And in a shocker, the owners of the Goa night club which caught fire, Saurabh Luthra and Gaurav Luthra, flee to Phuket hours after the tragedy. And the big story that we are talking about, first in Parliament, that is on the electoral reforms. After almost 2 sessions of Mathapachi, there has been a middle path which has been reached between the opposition and the government. It's not going to be called the SIR, it's going to be called the electoral reforms. That is because both the sides walked a little bit towards each other. The government says, and the government strategy, which we are going to discuss in a short while from now with Aman as well as with Arun Dhanta and of course Arunima, is that why is it that the BJP has walked a step forward? The opposition parties feel that this is the best opportunity, at least as far as the state-bound parties are concerned, which is the DMK and the Trinamool Congress, and to a certain extent the Congress party. Well, the initiation of the discussion is going to take place by the opposition. In all likelihood, it's going to be Rahul Gandhi, his vote story, his attacks on the SIR and calling the BJP and accusing it of stealing the elections. Pretty much similar allegations coming in from the Trinamool Congress as well. The BJP is of course riding high on their massive win in Bihar. So that's where they're going to call the bluff of the opposition parties by saying that you have been proved wrong, there has been no vote chori.
And on that note, there are many political reactions too that have been coming in. We'll play out those political reactions, but I want to open this debate up for my colleagues as well. Aman, Arun, just weigh in on this. After a lot of back and forth, like Pallavi also mentioned, one complete session washed away, government has come around. But it has come around because it feels that it has enough ammunition to hit the opposition out of the park after the Bihar elections.
Well, yes, the entire monsoon session, in fact, was washed out. We're into the second week of the winter session now, and finally the debate on electoral reforms is happening. It's not the SIR debate, it's the electoral reforms debate. I think both sides have walked forward. I won't say just the government has walked forward. The opposition also has walked forward by allowing the government to first do the Vande Mataram debate and not call this debate a debate on SIR, call this a debate on the larger electoral reforms. The government also, in a way, acceded to the opposition's request because they didn't want this session also to be a washout. So the government also agreeing, and as you correctly say, they are more confident now after the big Bihar win, and they're going to rebut the opposition charges by saying that, look, what happened in Bihar shows that the SIR is not an issue on the ground. It's in fact a good electoral reform. But what I found very interesting, and Pallavi has been reporting that since yesterday, that Rahul Gandhi skipped the debate yesterday. But he's going to be the lead speaker today.
But the best part is, Aman, he was there in Parliament. Yeah. For 10 minutes, he was there in Parliament. He didn't go inside. We asked him this question when he came in briefly, that, will you listen? He said, you listen to my sister. And, he was not even there. But what is even worse is that there were not many people from the Congress party. I think it's going to come back to haunt them possibly, right?
Well, and I find it this new arrangement somehow that Priyanka Gandhi takes lead in one house, Rahul Gandhi takes the lead in another house. So doesn't Congress have any senior MPs?
No, but also
Priyanka is the first time MP.
Well, the other way of looking at it is that I'm going to give the reply to the Prime Minister. So Arun, talking about the electoral reforms, the high with the BJP is going to be there. You are going to see a spring in their step on the fact that hum to jeet gaye elections in Bihar. What are you talking about?
Well, that's right, Pallavi, as Aman also highlighted this fact that we've seen entire monsoon session and there was complete washout. And there was an image, of course, of the opposition which was going out as obstructionist. And probably they've realized this. And that's why you see in this session, both government and opposition have, come to the fore. And there was this, arrangement was made out that, of course, this discussion will happen. But it will not happen on SIR. We've been discussing about this, that why discussion on SIR cannot happen. And government has been giving arguments that, see, it's a routine affair of Election Commission, and today if you discuss this in the Parliament, tomorrow you will come with something else, then you will have to discuss that also. So therefore this arrangement was made that we can have discussion on larger electoral reforms. Now you will have, of course, the likes of Law Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal speaking on this, because the entire election laws, management, etc. comes under his ministry. So that will be also interesting as to what he's going to speak on that. But what I am, of course, expecting from the government side is that, remember, they've been speaking about one nation, one poll. The bill has already been sent to the standing committee. It is there, but they will have the opportunity to speak on this, especially during this debate. That's the one point. They will, of course, be speaking about that how they only need one electoral roll for Lok Sabha, Vidhan Sabha, Panchayat, municipality. Only one roll. So that they will be, of course, speaking about the benefits of it, that how it is going to benefit people. Secondly, also, of course, you have BJP has been speaking about the linking of voter ID cards with Aadhaar.
Yeah, Arun, can I
So,
just
yeah,
ask you this?
sure.
One of the big planks of the BJP was SIR is needed to weed out illegal immigrants. But the numbers after Bihar, the 65 lakh initial and the 4 lakh later, 69 lakh, we still don't have a number as to how many of them were illegal immigrants. So this entire politics ahead of Bengal, how is the government planning to utilize this? Because, I mean, if you need solid data to back up your claim.
Absolutely. And in fact, Arunima, in that regard, yesterday I was speaking to some BJP leader, and they're doing a massive exercise around this. In fact, today also when we are speaking, there will be a meeting of senior BJP leadership with the state leaders of West Bengal, Chhattisgarh about the SIR. So what's going to happen in that meeting, we'll have to see. But they are on a path of giving their MPs and the leaders at the state level the best possible assistance from the center about the SIR, so that can be, delivered, or that can be conveyed on the ground. As far as, of course, this infiltrators thing, which of course has been a huge talk of the town during the Bihar elections. Many were asking about this, that even Jharkhand election, and many in the opposition were asking that why don't you give us any data that how many infiltrators, outsiders, Bahari you've got. So they have not been clear answers on that. Probably you will see during this discussion when you will have opposition leaders speaking, they would be asking these questions, and then probably somebody from the government side would be responding to that.
And Palvi, you think Rahul Gandhi will keep the focus on vote chori rather than...
Yeah, I think so. I think he'll keep the focus on vote chori, because remember he ran that voter Adhikar Yatra to crisscrossing to Bihar, and so he's okay with electoral reforms name. The umbrella name doesn't really matter. What matters is what are you going to say. So each one is going to say their own thing. So you are going to have the BJP, I'm sure, going to take pot shots at the Congress party. You just got 6 seats over there. RJD, of course. The Trinamool Congress and the DMK, of course, because they are the vote-bound states. But yesterday, the criticism which was being raised by Priyanka Gandhi Vadra is that there are other bigger issues which need to be discussed. Why are we discussing about Vande Mataram? But Aman, do you think there was a reason or a strategy behind the BJP slotting Vande Mataram, insisting on it before having it before the electoral reforms?
I think it was also to put the Congress on the back foot, because the kind of facts that the Prime Minister put forward very clearly, saying that Mahatma Gandhi was so impressed by the full version of Vande Mataram that he had once said that this should be the national anthem of the country. So Jawaharlal Nehru, in a way, contradicted Mahatma Gandhi by removing the 4 stanzas of the song. I think that was a very, very sharp political attack by the Prime Minister, which does put Congress on the back foot, because they are saying that one icon of yours is essentially contradicting the other icon. Also, I think a deeply political debate, because the Prime Minister clearly was also addressing the audience in West Bengal. He was clearly saying that ahead of the elections, we are the party which cares for Vande Mataram, we are the party which cares for Bankim Chattopadhyay, and his legacy was in a way diluted by the Congress party. But that said, I think today the SIR discussion, I think Rahul Gandhi finally gets a chance on the floor of the House to lay forward his entire vote chori campaign. It may fly, it may not fly, but at least now he will get the chance. So I think it will be an hour-long speech, if I'm not wrong. He will speak at great length, and he will essentially accuse... His favorite topic. Of course, he gets a chance on the floor of the Parliament, goes into the Parliament records as well. And I think he will try to portray that all these post-2024 Lok Sabha, when BJP got this setback reduced to 240 seats, all the big election wins that BJP has got boycott are due to vote chori. I think that will be the essence of Rahul Gandhi's speech. Well, are these sour grapes and are these...
No, but both of you think that the effect of hydrogen bomb and atom bomb will be seen in the House also? Will he put it on record in Parliament?
It seems so. It seems so. He will put it on record. I think the BJP will object to that because BJP will say that you are essentially questioning the fairness of the constitutional body Election Commission. How can you drag the Election Commission into the mud inside the Parliament? Obviously, the BJP will not want Rahul Gandhi's words to go on record, but I think nothing will stop Rahul Gandhi. He will speak what he has to speak, and he gets the floor today to lay down his political agenda.
And Payal is covering that NDA meeting which is taking place. That's also significant, isn't it, Arun? The Prime Minister having that NDA meeting, he's going to address them. Again, he's keeping that doesn't need to keep the flock together because they are together. But again, that's a very powerful, strong messaging which is going across. And yesterday he met up with the Bihar MPs.
Well, that's right, Pallavi. We have seen that whenever Parliament is in house, Prime Minister Modi ensures that he meets different state MPs. And in that regard, we saw he was meeting with West Bengal MPs, Bihar MPs also. But this meeting, NDA's meeting, which is going to take place, I guess around 9:30, it will be starting inside the Parliament. This is also, of course, happens every Tuesday whenever there is Parliament. Prime Minister chairs such meeting. But this is a first meeting after Bihar elections victory when the entire NDA contingent will be participating in that meeting. And it is going to be very interesting as to what Prime Minister Modi is going to speak on that. And also there's a dinner which Prime Minister Modi is organizing for all the NDA MPs on 11th. So these two meetings with NDA leaders are going to be very important. And also, of course, when all the MPs go in such meetings and which Prime Minister chairs, they expect, Prime Minister Modi to boost their morals. And it has happened even in the past also. And I'm sure that even today when Prime Minister, because it is a first meeting after Bihar victory, probably I expect that all the NDA leaders will be, welcoming or congratulating Prime Minister Modi for Bihar's victory. And also Prime Minister Modi will be speaking about, the role which MPs, need to play inside the Parliament, and also, of course, the SIR. There are various things which Prime Minister Modi can speak, but of course the important thing here is that after Bihar's victory, Prime Minister Modi will be meeting first time ND MPs inside the Parliament. There are a lot to expect from that meeting, and that of course give boost all the MPs, as we've been witnessing that Prime Minister Modi is meeting MPs from different states. West Bengal, for that matter, West Bengal will go to polls in 3-4 months, and Prime Minister Modi's address to those MPs was also very motivated. I was speaking to a few West Bengal MPs. They were saying that Prime Minister Modi had told us very clearly that now we'll have to not leave any stone unturned.
Right.
We have to put all the efforts and energy in West Bengal. Bihar is done. Now focus on West Bengal.
Maybe also a message to not become arrogant after victory. As he said at the start of the Parliament session, that if we have gone for election doesn't mean we become arrogant. We have to work harder for the next elections.
Yes, talking about arrogance, talking about sense of power and the sense that law will not catch up. That's the story that we are shifting our focus to now. The one which is coming from Goa. That enormous tragedy has unfolded in Goa, and now the details that are coming out shows brazen criminal negligence on part of the owners. Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra, the owners of the Birch nightclub, fled to Phuket within hours of a massive blaze that killed 25 people. Excellent. Now, interestingly, both took an Indigo flight. This is around the same time that all other Indigo passengers were struggling. There were massive cancellations. But these two managed to take an Indigo flight to Phuket. Police is now confirming that they're coordinating with Interpol and its India arm, the CBI, to bring the absconding duo back to face law. The fire just 25 kilometers from Panjim has exposed shocking lapses. The Arpora Panchayat had already flagged the nightclub's illegal operations back in March, yet business continued unchecked. Now families mourn while survivors battle injuries at the Goa Medical College Hospital. After this massive tragedy, the State Disaster Management Authority has ordered every nightclub, bar and event venue in Goa to conduct safety audits within 7 days.
And talking of this, there's some news which is just coming in. In fact, what we are learning is that 2 more nightclubs, which belongs to the accused, Saurabh Luthra and Gaurav Luthra. So there are 2 more nightclubs which belong to Saurav Luthra and Gaurav Luthra. Remember, they're the owner of the same nightclub which caught fire. So 2 other nightclubs have also been sealed. In fact, one of them is called Vagator of Goa, which is not too far away. They've been sealed, and what we are also picking up by way of our sources is that there could be a bulldozer action against these nightclubs, which means that they are razed to the ground. Joining me now is our colleague Vivek Gupta, who's been giving all those khabar. Vivek, हाँ बताएं और क्या तो ये 3 ही प्रॉपर्टीज थे क्या लूथरा ब्रदर्स का गोवा में और आगे की क्या कार्रवाई होगी और क्या आपके सूत्र कुछ बताते हैं क्या कि ये लोग जो फूकेट भाग गए इनको कैसे ट्रैक किया जाएगा, कैसे वापस लाने की क्या संभावना है?
देखिए पल्लवी, आपको बताना चाहेंगे कि इस पूरे मामले में जो मेन एक्यूज थे, जो पब के ओनर थे सौरभ लूथरा और गौरव लूथरा, उन्होंने 7 तारीख को जिस रात को ये 12 बजे आग लगी थी जिसमें 25 लोग की जानें चली गई थी, उसके ठीक 5 घंटे बाद 5:30 बजे की उन्होंने इंडिगो की फ्लाइट ली जो सीधे फुकेट थाईलैंड वहां पे भाग गए। इसकी जानकारी तब मिली जब गोवा पुलिस ने दोनों आरोपियों के खिलाफ LOC यानी कि लुकआउट सर्कुलर जारी किया और सारी इमिग्रेशन को अलर्ट किया। इमिग्रेशन को अलर्ट करने से पहले ही इमिग्रेशन उन्हें इन्फॉर्मेशन दी कि दोनों आरोपी जो हैं वो ऑलरेडी इंडिया के बाहर जा चुके हैं। यही वजह है कि गोवा पुलिस अब अपनी इंडिया की नोडल एजेंसी CBI के संपर्क में है और CBI से मांग कर रही है कि वो इंटरपोल के साथ कनेक्ट करें और साथ ही साथ जो आरोपी फुकेट में है गौरव लूथरा और सौरभ लूथरा, उन दोनों को ट्रेस डाउन करके जानकारी दे। वहीं दूसरी तरफ गोवा पुलिस ने एक बड़ी कार्रवाई की है जहां पे आरमोर में जहां पे घटना घटी थी वहां पे रोमियो नाइट क्लब को पूरी तरह से सील कर दिया गया है। साथ ही साथ इन दोनों आरोपियों के गोवा में लगभग 3 और क्लब हैं, उनको भी पूरी तरह से सील कर दिया गया है और सूत्रों से जानकारी मिल रही है कि गोवा सरकार इन तीनों प्रॉपर्टी पर बड़ा एक्शन ले सकती है। हो सकता है गोवा सरकार इन तीनों प्रॉपर्टी पर बुलडोजर भी चला सके। पल्लवी,
Thank you very much हमको जानकारी देने के लिए. Well, we certainly hope that he gets tracked down soon. It's absolutely unbelievable that the 2 accused escaped.
And it's the same story again and again. Right from the time of Bhopal gas tragedy to this Goa tragedy, every time there's a disaster, the accused somehow manages to flee, catches a flight and get away from India. So Aman, do you think opposition, because it's a BJP ruled state again, opposition could raise this on the floor of the House as well?
I think so. This will become a big outrage issue inside the parliament today. See, Arunima, the fire happened around 12:30 a.m. The flight the Luthra brothers took from Delhi is at 5 a.m. So maybe they had left for the airport around 2 a.m., 3 hours before they would have reached. So within an hour of the fire, the Luthra brothers realized that what the law could do to them and what big the tragedy. Within an hour, they have managed their escape. They reached the Delhi airport. They took the flight out to Phuket. The LOC was only issued later that day, and the police team reached only yesterday.
Yeah.
After they had already reached Phuket by 11 a.m. on the 7th of December. So it's very clear that they really knew that the authorities would take time, but they did not waste any time.
An insider's tip off then. That's what the suspicion seems to be.
Maybe insiders tip off, maybe they realized that, after the fire happened, the most tragic part of this is that out of the 25 people, 20 who have lost their lives are their own employees. So they didn't even wait to, condole or console their own employees' families.
He released one statement which doesn't say much. I agree with you. But the point is that if the Goa police is coming to Delhi, we all know that. Wouldn't the first thing have been to ensure that no one, you at least issue a lookout notice, because these people will obviously try to flee from the airport.
And it was so quick. I think by the time Goa police realized who the owners are, where do they live, do we alert Delhi police, do we alert the people at Luthra brothers already left. So I think they were far quicker than what the
I have a
authorities
strong
were.
suspicion somebody within the system would have warned them. Somebody who knows the ropes of how the legal system works, how the bureaucracy works.
Just want to ask you, Arunima, because I've seen you've been tracking all these developments related to agencies. What's going to be the process here on? Because they've already left, any LOC or the international community can be added here.
So let me try and explain what an LOC is. LOC is a lookout circular. What does it say? It warns authorities across land ports, airports and seaports that if this person comes to any of your port, if you have to leave the country, you either take the sea route or you take the airport route or you go via road. So the authorities at each of these are warned that if you see this person, please stop them, don't allow them to leave the country. So the ship has sailed. They have left the country, so that LOC is meaningless. Now you are approaching the Interpol, you are approaching the CBI. What will have to be done? You'll have to come up with a red notice or a blue notice. And these RCN or blue, there are different colored notices. For that, there is a process. Because Interpol will be convinced only if you have done your investigation well, if there's a charge sheet to back up your claim. So it's a long drawn legal process. However, deportation is easier. if they manage to go to Phuket, if Thailand and India diplomatically are on the same page and they manage to convince that this man is wanted here for such a heinous crime, deportation I think is the easiest option that India has.
Free, so maybe it will be easier, but of course the boat has sailed. It will take time now to get them back.
By the time we woke up, it was 3 hours. They'd already landed in Phuket and most probably checked in into some fancy resort. Yesha Kotak is also now joining us. She's also been getting us all those details first up on CNN News 18. Yesha, the next step forward. What else can be done? Anything you're getting to know from your sources in the Goa police? Are they shamefaced? Is there any possible explanation can they give to what really happened?
Absolutely. In fact, Pallavi, that we speak about, like you rightly said, that while the Goa police was still trying to search the two accused, they've already escaped. In fact, in a couple of hours after this very incident took place, they managed to take a flight to Phuket. However, now what's important to note is that, like we've of course heard Anu was speaking about, Goa police will have to now first approach the court and issue, the red corner notice or whatever other notices that they would discuss with the concerned judicial departments and the legal team about. In fact, while the Goa police was still in Delhi, they were on the lookout. They had also issued the LOC outside the residence of the Luthra brothers. But while all of this was done in the nick of the time, even before the Goa police could in fact initiate any of this process, there was someone possibly, this is an assumption that we're making, that there was someone possibly who had in fact already guided them to ensure that they were out of the country. And which is where now approaching the authorities. Clearly, it's a long process now because it will be difficult to put their hands on Luthra brothers. The only thing that the Goa authorities can now really do is take the help of the judiciary and ensure that their assets or the family members who are in fact here could be questioned on their assets. They could notices issued there, and the further course of judiciary, as is the process here, could be followed. Of course, here the Goa police will have to now take the help of various agencies, the central agencies as well, so as to decide the further course of action. So far, the Goa police has been tight-lipped. They have of course issued this LOC, but the LOC came in a little too late, just before the Luthra brothers could leave. Clearly, as we see in any other in any Bollywood movie, before the cops could arrive, the accused would have already fled. The Lamba Hath of Kanun has clearly not been able to reach to the Luthra brothers right here. Yes.
Morning, Yesha. This is Arunima. I just wanted to understand from you, is there any internal inquiry also being done? Because there seems to be a strong suspicion that the Luthra brothers were helped with an insider tip-off.
Absolutely. Arunima, when we speak of this, there have been several allegations that have been levelled. Now here clearly the Chief Minister and the concerned ministers will have to be answerable to this. When it comes to several MLAs in Goa, they have already raised suspicion, they've already questioned and in fact also questioned several IAS and IPS officers who are hand in gloves with these people. Now, let us understand the whole timeline. In 2023 was when permission was given by the local Gram Panchayat of Arpora to run this very club that is bought by the Romeo Lane. Following which, as far as allegations from the politicians in Goa are concerned, they've gone further to question, saying the Gram Panchayat, there were several IAS, IPS officers who hand in gloves, and they've gone ahead to give permission to this. Though there were questions that were raised time and again on this, of course, as a part of the entire inquiry, an inquiry team has already been set up. In fact, questions have also been raised, and the Gram Panchayat in this case has also been questioned for this very permission that was granted to them. But here, of course, there are several IAS, IPS officers, current as well as former, who still remain, in that doubt, who are still being named as the possible people who were hand in gloves with this very club when it was set up. But here, Arunima, the question actually remains as to when it comes to the main culprit, the Luthra brothers, who in fact tried to flout the rules, who did not have specific permissions in place, be it the fire NOC or for that matter the other NOCs required to set up the club there. All of that was done by being hands in gloves with people in authority. But so far, Goa police has only been able to arrest 5 people. All of these were in fact employees. Arunima, of course, this is a stark contrast when you speak of it. Those who've lost their employees, those who've lost their life in this very fire have been employees of the firm of Luthra brothers. 20 of them, in fact. 5 who've been arrested are again employees, their general manager, bar managers, and those who are looking after the daily operations of the club, whereas the actual owners, seem to be absconding and, far away.
Okay, Yasha, give me a moment. Give me a moment, Yasha, because there's news that is just breaking as far as this Goa tragedy is concerned. This is exclusive here on CNN News 18. Goa police is now hunting for Ajay Gupta, partner of Luthra brothers at the fire hit club. This is what our colleague from the network, Anand Tiwari, is learning. Goa police is searching for a man named Ajay Gupta. Raids are underway to trace him. Sources say Ajay Gupta is a partner in the Goa club when the fire broke out, along with Saurabh and Gaurav Luthra. The Goa police wants to arrest Ajay Gupta as part of the ongoing investigation. Yasha, is there any information that you have whether Ajay Gupta is in India, because the Luthra brothers have fled?
Absolutely. So far, when it comes to Goa police, there's absolutely no information about whether Ajay Gupta is still in India or not. Like we've in fact seen Bharat Kohli, who was arrested by Goa police yesterday while they were in Delhi. When it comes to Ajay Gupta, so far, yes, the Goa police is trying to find Ajay Gupta. Like Arunima, we've been discussing, what's important at this very point is that because both the Luthra brothers have fled, they will Goa police will try to reach out to the family members, to their partners, those who are available. Now here, Ajay Gupta, who is one of the partners of Luthra brothers, he is on the radar of Goa police. But considering the fact that they're just on the lookout for him, it will be too early for them to be sharing information. Or Goa police would, for the purpose of the investigation, not be willing to share information about where Ajay Gupta really is. Yesterday also, when the arrest of Bharat Kohli took place, the information about Bharat Kohli's arrest was shared. However, cops were in fact trying to find both Gaurav as well as Saurabh Luthra, but only later in the evening was where the information was confirmed that they've in fact fled to Phuket. Of course, the information about an LOC being issued against them was quite out and open, but the further information was something that was still awaited, and which is where now, because Luthra brothers are not available, it's just a backhand technique to ensure that they could get someone to be the one made responsible for this entire fire, and which is where the cops are now trying to find Ajay Gupta. Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Yasha. Thank you for those details. So, Pallavi, looks like this is also an issue that will dominate Parliament proceedings today.
Goa, Indigo, and of course electoral reforms.
Yes. We'll slip into a very quick break, but we'll get you more updates on the other side.
This is News.
ये आपकी रक्षा के लिए और ये आपकी रक्षा के लिए।
अरे ये क्या है?
ये आपकी रक्षा के लिए और ये घर की रक्षा के लिए।
न जले न पिघले, घर घर को सेफ बनाएं। अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर।
Stay ahead with News 18. News from your city in your language. Real-time updates, in-depth analysis, and breaking news. Anytime, anywhere. Only on the News 18 app. Scan and download the News 18 app now.
So we begin this morning's bulletin with some breaking news coming in from the US about Trump tariffs. US's President Donald Trump has announced that the United States will redirect a small portion of hundreds of billions in tariff revenue to deliver $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers, underscoring that the administration's attempt is to cushion the agricultural sector from the financial blow of its own trade policies. Framed as a reinvestment of tariff proceeds back into the domestic economy, the move was presented as both evidence to the tariff success and a pledge to protect farmers caught in the middle of escalating trade disputes, viewers. The statement also raises broader questions about the actual amount of tariff revenue collected, the sustainability of such relief programs, and whether the aid package reflects economic necessity or political strategy heading into a contentious period of US trade and agricultural markets.
Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal. So
yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
So President Donald Trump has announced that the United States will redirect a small portion of the hundreds of billions in tariff revenue to deliver $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers, which underscores the administration's attempt to cushion the agricultural sector from the financial blow of its own trade policies, viewers. Framed as a reinvestment of tariff proceeds back into the domestic economy, the move was presented as both evidence of the tariff success and a pledge to protect farmers caught in the middle of escalating trade disputes. The statement also raises broader questions about the actual amount of tariff revenue collected, the sustainability of such programs, and whether the aid package reflects economic necessity or political strategy. And we have CNN News18's Akansha Swaroop joining us live right now. Akansha, very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. So how accurate do you think is the administration's claim about the scale of tariff revenue available to fund $12 billion assistance package? So we begin this morning's bulletin with some breaking news coming in from the US about Trump tariffs. US's President Donald Trump has announced that the United States will redirect a small portion of hundreds of billions in tariff revenue to deliver $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers, underscoring that the administration's attempt is to cushion the agricultural sector from the financial blow of its own trade policies. Framed as a reinvestment of tariff proceeds back into the domestic economy, the move was presented as both evidence to the tariff success and a pledge to protect farmers caught in the middle of escalating trade disputes, viewers. The statement also raises broader questions about the actual amount of tariff revenue collected, the sustainability of such relief programs, and whether the aid package reflects economic necessity or political strategy heading into a contentious period of US trade and agricultural markets.
Why is India not allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal, so we'll...
Yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
So President Donald Trump has announced that the United States will redirect a small portion of the hundreds of billions in tariff revenue to deliver $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers, which underscores the administration's attempt to cushion the agricultural sector from the financial blow of its own trade policies, viewers. Framed as a reinvestment of tariff proceeds back into the domestic economy, the move was presented as both evidence of the tariff success and a pledge to protect farmers caught in the middle of escalating trade disputes. The statement also raises broader questions about the actual amount of tariff revenue collected, the sustainability of such programs, and whether the aid package reflects economic necessity or political strategy. And we have CNN News18's Akansha Swaroop joining us live right now. Akansha, very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. So how accurate do you think is the administration's claim about the scale of tariff revenue available to fund $12 billion assistance package?
Right. Morning to you, Sukanya, and all our viewers. Remember, Donald Trump was addressing the White House roundtable meeting for this $12 billion bailout package for American farmers. Of course, going by his philosophy of America First, he was being briefed by American farmers, and over there you can in fact see the CEO of the Kennedy Rice Mills briefing Donald Trump as he was briefed that most of the U.S. business was getting impacted by countries like India.
Welcome back to CNN News 18 with me, Hem Kaur Saroya. Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's get right into this. The central government has now responded to DMK MP Kanimuri on why Tamil Nadu's proposed metro projects for Coimbatore and Madurai were not approved. The centre cited several reasons here. They've said that metro projects are high cost and undergo strict evaluation to ensure long-term sustainability. For Coimbatore, the government cited low average trip lengths, negligible time saving, unrealistic ridership projections, and lack of adequate road width to build these stations. For Madurai, the centre said that the state's own mobility plan showed that the city's ridership levels were more suitable for a bus rapid transit system, which would prove to be more cost efficient. For more on this, we have Aman Sharma live with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. Of course, the centre cited several reasons as to why these projects at this juncture were not suitable. What's your assessment?
See him, this has become a major political flashpoint in Tamil Nadu. The Stalin government has been saying that the central BJP government has denied its metro projects in Madurai and Coimbatore for political reasons. In fact, the DMK plans to make this a big issue in the upcoming Tamil Nadu elections, that the BJP is biased maybe towards Tamil Nadu. Metro projects have been denied. Chennai has a metro, but Madurai and Coimbatore, the Stalin government wanted to extend the metro network. Now, for the first time, the centre, in a parliament reply to DMK leader Kanimoi, has listed out the exact reasons why these projects are not feasible. To quote from the government reply, the government is clearly saying that yes, the government of Tamil Nadu has submitted detailed project reports and the comprehensive mobility plan for the metro projects of Coimbatore and Madurai. These projects have been examined but returned to Tamil Nadu for the following reasons. For the Coimbatore metro, the centre is saying that the projected ridership figure which has been projected in the DPR is not realistic. It is also saying that, currently the Coimbatore would not be served well by a metro system because of the population figures that they have. Also saying that, this at several locations it is not feasible to construct a station due to non-availability of the right of way. So these are the practical problems the centre has highlighted about the Coimbatore metro. About the Madurai metro, the centre is saying that the comprehensive mobility plan is clearly stipulating it. So Tamil Nadu's own plan that the bus rapid transport system may be better cost-effective system to serve Madurai. And the centre is saying there has been no further response from Tamil Nadu after the central replies have been sent. So the centre is clearly saying that there is no politics about it. They have clearly gone by the ridership surveys and the realistic practical situation on the ground. If there is no space to make stations, how will you set up the metro? But the Tamil Nadu government is continuing to see politics in it and accusing the BJP of being biased against Tamil Nadu.
Absolutely, Aman. This has become a bit of a rallying point right now. However, they have given a categorical response to this, a 5-point response. We will continue to track all developments closely there as well. Let's shift our focus for our other big focus today. Indigo's operational crisis. It's entered its 8th straight day with large-scale flight cancellations continuing across major Indian airports. After mammoth cancellations over the past few days, the airline claims that its own time performance has upped up to 91% from 75% until yesterday. As of today, over 1,800 flights have been scheduled. The DGCA has received Indigo's response to its show cause, citing minor technical glitches, winter schedule changes, adverse weather congestion, and new crew duty rules as the reasons that they've cited for these disruptions. As per top government sources, Indigo's previously approved winter flight schedule will be curtailed due to the recent chaos. The Indigo CEO has been summoned and will meet DGCA and Civil Aviation Ministry officials at 11 a.m. today. Also, Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu will speak on the issue in Lok Sabha. But first, listen to what he said in the Rajya Sabha yesterday.
Immediately when this was observed, the ministry came into the picture. We have taken over the situation at the airports. We have consulted all the stakeholders, and then you have seen how things have unfolded for those 2 days. Definitely, there was a lot of difficulty that has faced by the passengers, and as a closing statement also, let me tell you that we are not taking this situation easily. We are doing an inquiry and we will take very, very strict action, not only for this situation, but also as an example. We will set an example for all the airlines. If there is any miscompliance, any non-compliance or non-adherence for any single person, any entity or any organization or any operator functioning in this civil aviation, we will take very, very strict action so that we set an example in the industry.
Now, be that as it may, in a mega exclusive by CNN News18, an Indigo insider, whistleblower, also made some big revelations that have exposed the airline point by point. Indigo's response on this revelation is still awaited. Listen to these truth bombs dropped by a former Indigo pilot.
When this November implementation happened because of the Honorable High Court, they started taking flight cancellation on purpose. What Indigo used this FDTL was for their benefit. First, they cancelled all type of contracts, norms, PL's availability, and everything went off. Although having special clearance from DGCA, which no other airline had, they started with Again, like I told you, they started taking cancellations to make data and make it arm twist the regulator to get rid of the FTTL. The accountable and responsible people who have brought this chaos, made so many passengers suffered, made the frontline warriors, pilots, cabin crew, ground staff suffer, even beaten up, they should be brought to justice. And not just penalty to the airline, personal penalties should be imposed on these individuals. They must be brought to justice.
But only Indigo has managed all these years low budget airline, and also they won't recruit people. Because of these norms, they have to implement it. All of a sudden, December 4, 550 flights, December 5th, 600 flights have been cancelled. Non-managing the rostrum, that is where they have committed a mistake. All these things has caused so much of disturbances. There is no head and tail for that party. They will do all these things. They want something sensational. They will blame. They will throw mud on us.
All right, for more on this, we have Anuj Vasa live with us. Of course, Anvid, we know that Rammohun Naidu will be addressing the Lok Sabha today as well. Even yesterday, he did say that he wants to set an example going forward, also bring in perhaps other players in this industry as well. What can you tell us?
What we're learning is that there might also be a route share cut for Indigo. And also, when Nestle had recently said that this will be done if Indigo fails to stabilize operations or continues to struggle with planning and compliance. So, route reduction is being considered as a corrective and disciplinary measure, is what the minister has said. And recently, Indigo had also responded to the show cause notified to its CEO, and they had, in fact, given a combination of factors that addressed this chaos that unfolded over the last 1 week. And they had said that along with minor technical features, they would also schedule changes things to the start of the winter season. That was one reason they have stated. And also, other than that, other than the adverse weather conditions, they have said the increased competition in aviation system and, very importantly, the implementation of an operation under the new updated crew rostering rules, the MTTL, has also been mentioned once again. This is initially also when Indigo had come out with this statement on early days of this flight disruption, they had mentioned FDTL. And since then, the FDTL has remained in the center of this controversy. And they had also said that they note that they had been engaged in regarding challenges in implementing the FDTL, phase 2 of it, which was to be done from November 1st. And they were seeking variations, exemptions, or extensions. I remember previously DGCA had also come out and said that when they had held a meeting with Indigo following the flight cancellations and disruptions when thousands of passengers were left stranded across country, DGCA had clearly said in a strong worded letter that when they held a meeting with Indigo admitted it has not foreseen this disruption coming up. They had also in fact seen that they were unable to focus to availability and did not realign rosters despite advanced communication. So it was only after all the disruptions went on, Indigo admitted in a meeting that they failed to anticipate two requirements. And this is why we need such stern actions from the government.
Right, absolutely. Anvid, I just want to clarify what we are hearing from them today also, that they've said that their performance is up to 91% from 75% yesterday. Some 1,800 flights have been scheduled as well. They did also earlier say that by the 10th of December, most operations should be back and running smoothly. That being said, do you think they've been able to address the issues that are really at the heart of this entire crisis?
This statement came in last evening, and they have said that yes, over 400 flights have been operated, and they have said these are up from 1,650 that had operated the previous day. And before that, they have said that 1,500 flights have been operated. So certainly, Indigo is kind of recuperating from the cancellation that they have witnessed. And they've also said that 90% of the OTP, the on-time performance rate percentage, and previously it was 75%. So some improvement there certainly, but they've also said that all cancellations that was scheduled were executed yesterday, and during the advance notifications were also being sent to customers. But this is also being done only after Nestle came out and directed in straight words to Indigo that you need to set accountability and there has to be officers from Indigo who need to reach out to customers and them because since initial days communication has been the biggest problem. Even though not being able to realign the roster, not being able to forecast crew shortage, that has led to slight disruption. But even after that, there has been zero communication with the passengers. That was the major grievance of the passengers. So all of these measures that Indigo has taken, they have started to go on to give 827 rupees crores of refund. And baggages also that the ministry has said that you have to trace and send it back to the passengers in within 48 hours. So things are catching up with Indigo. They are doing all of this. They have also come up with figures. But all of this has only happened when the ministry came out in very strong words and has communicated to Indigo that this needs to be done on priority.
Right. Well, Anwar, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, how things pan out going forward, that's something that remains to be seen as well. Thank you so much for now. Let's shift our focus. Now, days after a study questioned the accuracy of current stubble burning data, experts are now calling for more comprehensive metrics to track farm fires. A new report by Forest says assessments should include the total burnt area, not just the number of fire incidents. The report notes that while stubble burning has declined in Punjab and Haryana, Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh are emerging as new hotspots for the same as well, and that remains a huge issue. For more on this, Shrishti Chaudhary is also joining us live. Thank you so much for joining us. What can you tell us?
Yes, good morning. So we remember that a few days back, there was a research study conducted by the Space Application Center, ISRO, which had analyzed the geostationary data as well, and they highlighted that the peak burning activity, that is the stubble burning happening in the neighboring states, has kind of shifted from the early afternoon hours to late afternoon hours, and that is something that is not being captured by the polar orbiting satellites. So iForest, which is a think tank based in New Delhi, they analyzed the data a little more comprehensively. They got the data from other satellites as well, including the geostationary satellites, and their observations kind of align with the same observation which the Space Application Center had, and they say that the peak burning activity has definitely shifted, especially in Punjab and Haryana, to the late afternoon hours. That's around 5 p.m. and it's not really being captured by the polar orbiting satellites. See, as of now, the way we collect the stubble burning data is through the fire counts, which are basically through the satellite data from these polar satellites, which are basically monitored by NASA. But they are, they actually cover India at specific intervals. So these late afternoon burning events are not being captured. So all the experts, and they say that I think it's urgent that now we include more comprehensive metrics to get that data of stubble burning, and the team at iForest really argues for including the burnt area as well. So burnt area is basically, kind of adds to that layer of information. So then we can actually arrive at a exact number. But they also agree that yes, the stubble burning has to some extent declined in Punjab and Haryana, but the decrease percentage is not as high as probably indicated through the fire counts through the satellite data. They also say that the government statement, which says that there has been a 90% reduction in stubble burning, that may not be correct because the percentage could be less. So, and considering that stubble burning remains a source of pollution, it's important that we get a correct picture so that that data can be fed into the models to get a correct estimate of their contribution, and especially the air quality forecast monitoring system, which is run by IITM Pune.
Right. Well, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this, Shrishti. All right, no more breaking news that's just coming in. Bhojpuri actor Pawan Singh has received a threat from gangster Lawrence Bishnoi, warning him not to work with Salman Khan. He has filed a written complaint with the Mumbai police at Oshiwara police station and has requested more security as well. He has reportedly received a threat from members of the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, warning him not to appear alongside Salman Khan. As you know, the gang has been repeatedly issuing threats to Salman Khan, in light of which his security has been upped also. For more on this, we're now being joined by Vivek Gupta. Sir, आप क्या बता सकते हैं हमें इसके बारे में?
हम देखिए आपको बताना चाहेंगे कि भोजपुरी एक्टर पवन सिंह ने उनके जो मैनेजर है उनके फोन पर लगातार लॉरेंस बिश्नोई के गैंग के नाम पर धमकियां मिल रही थी। उनको साफ तौर पर धमकाया जा रहा था कि वो सलमान खान के साथ काम ना करें, अगर वो सलमान खान के साथ काम करते हैं तो उनके ऊपर अटैक हो सकता है। तो ये जो है वो पूरे पवन सिंह के जो मैनेजर है उनके फोन पे सारे व्हाट्सएप चैट्स हो रहे थे। इस धमकी लॉरेंस बिश्नोई की तरफ से धमकी मिलने के बाद पवन सिंह और उनके मैनेजर ने मुंबई के ओशिवारा पुलिस स्टेशन में एक रिटन कंप्लेंट दी है और साफ तौर पर जो व्हाट्सएप चैट पर धमकी दी जा रही थी वो भी एक स्क्रीनशॉट मुंबई पुलिस को दी है और मुंबई ने इस एप्लीकेशन को रिसीव कर लिया है। और साथ साथ पुलिस का कहना है कि वो सारे चैट्स और जो नंबर्स उनको वेरीफाई कर रही है। वेरीफाई करने के बाद आगे लीगल एक्शन लिया जाएगा कि जो आदमी क्लेम कर रहा है कि वो लॉरेंस बिश्नोई का गैंग का है वो है या नहीं। लेकिन जिस तरीके से पवन सिंह की टीम ने कंप्लेंट दी है और साफ तौर पर ये क्लेम किया है कि लॉरेंस बिश्नोई की तरफ से उन्हें धमकी दी जा रही है और पवन सिंह ने ये भी मांग की है कि धमकी मिलने के बाद उनकी सुरक्षा को बढ़ाया जाए।
जी, thank you so much. Of course, we'll continue to track all developments on this breaking story that we are just getting right now. Also, however, for the time being, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere though. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News18.
This is News 18 Network.
So we begin this morning's bulletin with some breaking news coming in from the US about Trump tariffs. US's President Donald Trump has announced that the United States will redirect a small portion of hundreds of billions in tariff revenue to deliver $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers, underscoring that the administration's attempt is to cushion the agricultural sector from the financial blow of its own trade policies. Framed as a reinvestment of tariff proceeds back into the domestic economy, the move was presented as both evidence to the tariff success and a pledge to protect farmers caught in the middle of escalating trade disputes, viewers. The statement also raises broader questions about the actual amount of tariff revenue collected, the sustainability of such relief programs, and whether the aid package reflects economic necessity or political strategy heading into a contentious period of US trade and agricultural markets.
Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir. We're still working on their trade deal. So
Yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from others. So you can't do that.
So President Donald Trump has announced that the United States will redirect a small portion of the hundreds of billions in tariff revenue to deliver $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers, which underscores the administration's attempt to cushion the agricultural sector from the financial blow of its own trade policies, viewers. Framed as a reinvestment of tariff proceeds back into the domestic economy, the move was presented as both evidence of the tariff success and a pledge